21 old home features that have faded into history. There's something special about old homes, not just the architecture, but the feeling, the way the floor creaked, the scent of wood polish and warm biscuits, the quiet hum of a ceiling fan on a lazy afternoon. Homes used to be built with soul, with nooks and crannies, odd little cupboards, and thoughtful touches that weren't just practical, they were personal. Today, many of those features are gone, replaced by open floor plans and modern finishes. But if you close your eyes, you might still remember them. So today, let's step inside and revisit 20 old home features that have quietly faded into history. Some will make you smile, some might make you a little miss, but all of them will feel like coming home. 1. Transom windows above doors. Before central air and smart thermostats, homes were designed to breathe. Transom windows, those small, hinged panes above bedroom and hallway doors, allowed air to circulate throughout the house, even with the doors closed. They swung open with a brass latch or twist of a rod, letting in breezes on warm nights. More than just functional, they were charming. Sometimes they were frosted, sometimes leaded, with tiny decorative panes. Today, we rely on vents and filters, but those little windows reminded us that homes could be both beautiful and smart. In the simplest ways, 2. Twist doorbells and mechanical chimes before wireless buzzers and digital tones. Many front doors had twist doorbells, a small, round knob you turned by hand, which triggered a bell that rang inside the house. Later, mechanical chimes took over, often mounted high on the wall, with long, vertical bars that sang a soft, resonant ding-dong. No batteries, no app, just a friendly sound that told you someone was here, a neighbor, a friend, maybe the mailman with a package wrapped in string. Today, doorbells are smart, but back then, they were sweet and simple, like the knock of a familiar friend. 3. Built-in ironing board cabinets, usually tucked behind a tall, narrow door in the hallway or kitchen. These fold-down ironing boards were a marvel of home efficiency. Open the door, and the board dropped with a soft creak. Inside, there might be a shelf for starch, a hanging iron cord, and a faded instruction sticker from 1956. It wasn't glamorous, but it was always there, waiting quietly, like a dependable old friend. Today, ironing boards are collapsible and stored in closets. But the built-in ones, they were part of the house, and part of the rhythm of daily life. 4. Picture rails and chair rails. Before drywall and endless framed prints, walls were often finished with picture rails. Thin wooden ledges near the ceiling used to hang art without damaging the plaster. You'd loop a wire over a hook, hang your picture, and slide it until it was just right. Some rooms had chair rails. 2. Horizontal wood strips that protected the wall from bumps and Together, these features added charm, craftsmanship, and intention to every room. Today, they're mostly decorative. But back then, they were thoughtful touches, built for life, not just looks. 5. Radiator heat with iron covers. There was nothing quite like the gentle hiss of a cast iron radiator, especially on a chilly winter morning. Some sat bare, others were tucked behind ornate metal covers with scrollwork designs and little ledges on top, perfect for warming mittens or drying socks. The heat was slow but steady. The sound was comforting, and if you ever laid a damp towel across one, pure bliss. Today, forced air systems come with vents and filters. But those old radiators, they made you feel warm, even before the room did. 6. The milk door or delivery hatch, built right into the wall, often near the back porch or kitchen, was a small square door, about the size of a shoebox. One side opened to the outside, the other to the inside of the house. This was the milk door, a simple invention for a world that ran on doorstep deliveries. The milkman would open the outside door, place glass bottles inside, and close it quietly. Later, someone in the kitchen would open the inside door and retrieve the day's supply. Still cold, still fresh, waiting like magic. Some families used it for bread, eggs, or even ice deliveries. Today, it's hard to imagine that kind of trust and routine. But back then, the milk door was a symbol of neighborhood rhythm and simple convenience. 7. The telephone nook. Usually located in a hallway or near the stairs, this was a built-in alcove or tiny shelf made just for the family's rotary phone. Some had a small drawer underneath 4 pens, phone books, and note. Others had room for a seat, so you could sit and chat in peace. It was the original home office, long before we had them. This was where teenagers whispered to sweethearts, where mums coordinated bake sales, and where long-distance calls were made with excitement. And always after 7 p.m. when the rates dropped. Now, phones are in our pockets, but the telephone nook, that was a quiet, sacred little spot for connection. 8. Crystal or glass doorknobs, elegant, cool to the touch, and just a little sparkly. Glass doorknobs were once standard in homes from the 1920s through the 40s. Some were cut like jewels, others were smooth and round. They caught the light from nearby windows and added a little glamour to the most ordinary door. Paired with metal backplates and long skeleton keys, these knobs made even a simple hallway feel special. Today's doorknobs are brushed nickel or matte black. Functional, yes, but forgettable. Those crystal knobs, they were functional beauty, quietly waiting to turn and invite you into the next room. 9. Built-in wall niches and display alcoves before floating shelves and wall-mounted TVs. Older homes often featured recessed wall niches, small, arched or rectangular cutouts designed to display something meaningful. A vase of fresh flowers, a family Bible, a statue of Mary. Sometimes just a tiny lamp glowing warmly at night. These niches were usually tucked into hallway corners or beside the stairs. Easy to miss, but once you noticed them, they were unforgettable. They weren't there to impress, they were there to hold something sacred. A reminder that even the smallest spaces could be filled with care. 10. Laundry chutes. Ah yes, the joy of tossing socks through a tiny door in the hallway and hearing them thunk down into a basket below. Laundry chutes were common in multi-story homes, especially before washers and dryers moved upstairs. Built into the wall, these clever doors usually opened with a creak and sometimes had a little brass knob or latch. As a kid, it felt like a game. As an adult, it saved a trip downstairs. And for the laundry room, it was a daily surprise. Today, they're sealed shut or torn out during renovations. But ask anyone who had one, and they'll tell you. There was nothing quite like it. 11. Slip-in porches. Long before central AC, hot summer nights were handled with something far more magical. The sleeping porch, usually screened in and tucked on the second story or back of the house. This space was part bedroom, part balcony, cooled by natural breezes, shaded by trees, and scented with honeysuckle or lilacs. Families would bring out folding cots, quilts, and pillows, then sleep under the stars, listening to crickets and the distant sound of a train whistle. It was simple, quiet, and so deeply relaxing. Today, we have ceiling fans and climate control, but we lost the ritual of surrendering to the night, gently and together on the porch. 12. Dutch doors. A staple of farmhouse kitchens and early suburban homes, The Dutch door was a two-piece wonder, split horizontally, so the top half could open while the bottom stayed closed. It let in breezes, sunlight, and friendly neighbors while keeping kids or pets safely inside. And let's be honest, it was just plain fun. You could rest your arms on the top, chat with the mailman, or call out to someone in the yard without swinging the whole door open. These days, you'll find them in high-end rustic remodels. But they used to be everywhere. Just another charming solution for real-life living. 13 built-in kitchen radios in the 1950s and 60s. The hum of a radio was part of the kitchen soundtrack. Soft music playing as biscuits baked and coffee perked on the stove. Some homes had under-cabinet radios. Others had them built into the wall, with knobs for AM stations, timers for cooking, and a little light that glowed when it was on. Mums would listen to local news, morning shows, or even soap operas while folding towels or rolling out dough. It wasn't just entertainment, it was company, a quiet presence in the background of everyday life. Today, kitchens have Bluetooth speakers and screens. But that old radio, it was as dependable as the coffee pot. 14. Wallpaper borders and themed rooms. Many homes once proudly embraced the art of the themed room, often topped with a wallpaper border that wrapped just beneath the ceiling like a decorative ribbon. Floral in the dining room, ducks in the bathroom, apples in the kitchen. Every room told its own story. Matched curtains, cushions, and colors gave the space warmth and personality. Now, minimalism is in plain white walls, neutral tones. But once upon a time, every corner of the house had a little bit of the family soul on display. 15. Medicine cabinets with built-in razor slots. Remember the tiny slit in the back of the medicine cabinet? It was there for used razor blades. A little drop slot that emptied into the wall cavity behind the sink. It sounds strange now, but back then it was ingenious. No one wanted loose blades in the trash, and no one ever really worried about where they landed. They just vanished into the wall, like something out of a mystery novel. Paired with mirrored doors, a toothbrush holder, and maybe a cup hook, the medicine cabinet was one of the most quietly useful fixtures in the home. Today's bathrooms are sleek, but less personal. That old cabinet, it held everything from aspirin to secrets. 16. Coal chutes and bins in the basement before electric heat and gas furnaces. Many homes stayed warm, thanks to coal deliveries. And that meant one special feature near the side of the house. The coal chute, usually made of iron or steel. It led from the outside wall down into the basement, where coal would tumble into a designated bin, ready for shoveling into the furnace. It was dusty, it was loud, but it was dependable. And while the coal heat is long gone, many basements still hold the faint smell of dust and soot and maybe even a rusted chute cover, like a quiet reminder of the warmth that once came from hard work and fire. 17. Front hall coat closets with wooden hangers right near the front door. Every house had one. The coat closet, not a big walk-in, not a fancy mudroom, just a tall, narrow space with a single wooden rod, a shelf up top, and maybe a hook or two on the inside of the door. It held winter coats, galoshes, umbrellas, and scarves that still smelled like fireplaces. Sometimes it hid board games, sometimes it hid Christmas gifts, and always it held the rhythm of the seasons. Today, we hang coats on open racks, or stuff them into bedroom closets. But the front hall closet, that was where every journey began and ended. 18. Whole house attic fans. On warm spring nights, just before air conditioning became the norm, families cooled the house with something simple and powerful. The attic fan. It sat in the hallway ceiling behind a slatted vent, and when you flipped the switch, It roared to life, pulling air through every open window and sending it up into the attic, out through the vents, and into the sky. Curtains fluttered, doors softly slammed, and within minutes the house felt cooler, lighter, alive. You could sleep without sweating. You could breathe. They're rare now, replaced by AC units and sealed windows. But if you ever heard that deep hum above your bed, you know it felt like a summer lullaby. 19 tiled bathroom floors with inlaid patterns before mass-produced vinyl and prefab vanities. Bathrooms were a place for detailed, handcrafted beauty. Mosaic tile floors, tiny squares laid by hand, created borders, flower patterns, even checkerboards in soft pastels, and timeless black. They felt cool beneath your feet in summer, and they lasted forever. Many still survive, buried beneath newer floors, just waiting to shine again. Today's floors are practical, but those old tiles, they were quiet little works of art. Under your slippers every single day. 20 laundry line hooks and outdoor clotheslines out back, often near the garden or the garage. You'd find 2 poles, a bundle of clothespins, and a stretch of clothesline hung between them. Laundry wasn't thrown into a dryer. It was carried out in a basket, piece by piece, and hung in the sunshine to dry. Sheets flapped in the wind. Towels soaked up the smell of the sky, and you always knew when it was laundry day, because the backyard looked like a quilt made of everyday life. Today, dryers do the job faster, but nothing, absolutely nothing, smells better than a pillowcase dried in the sun. The house that held it all. These home features weren't flashy. They didn't need batteries or apps. They just worked. They were built for daily life, for the seasons, for families that grew and laughed and weathered storms beneath a shared roof. Some were beautifully crafted, some were purely practical, but all of them were made to last, not just through time, but through memory. So tell us, which of these old home features do you remember? Did your house have a coal chute, a sleeping porch, a glass doorknob that sparkled in the sunlight? We'd love to hear your stories. And if this brought a little warmth to your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again, as we remember the everyday things that once made a house feel like home, before they quietly faded into history.